Welcome to the Forza Pasa podcast. This is your host Shubham. I have with me Aniket joining in from Vancouver. But today we have a very special guest, Praveer, my college friend. He's joining in from Mumbai, Maharashtra, India. So thank you so much, Praveer, for coming and joining us on this episode. I hope you are doing fine.
Doing great, Yasham. Really a exciting thing for me to be a part of this podcast. Thanks for inviting me.
It's our pleasure, man. So today we are doing a preview of Manchester United versus Barcelona in the round of 16 matchup in Europa League. To be honest, I would have loved to do it in the final of Champions League because, the standings and the history of both the clubs is exactly like this. But today, unfortunately, the president tells us to do a matchup of Europa League. So I'll just quickly get started, in this clash of Titan. With Manchester United, I'll just go through, all the history. 20 times English champion, 2 times Champions League winner, once European champion, 3 times. Oh, my bad. 1 time European champion Clubs Cup winner, 1 time Europa League winner, 1 time Cup Winners Cup winner. What is this Cup winner? I don't know, but probably a substandard tournament. Praveer, maybe you need something like this. We need as well. One time UEFA Super Cup winner, 12 times FA Cup winner, 5 times English League Cup winner, 1 time Intercontinental Cup winner, 21 times English Super Cup winner, and finally one FIFA Club World Cup winner. So a lot of history, and Aniket, probably you can go on with same.
I mean, that's really a historic club in itself. But as you said about Manchester United, I'm very excited to tell some facts about Barcelona as well. The club won 31st Spanish Cups, 4 Champions League, 3 times FIFA World Cup winner, 4 times Champions League winner, 1 time European Champions Club Cup winner, 26 Spanish champions, 4 times cup winner again, 5 times UEFA Super Cup winner, 13 times Spanish Super Cup winner, 3 times Intercity Fair Club winner, and that is it for Barcelona as well. So both the clubs with a lot of history, but as you said in the previous statement, fighting for the European Cup this time.
Yeah, indeed. But even having said so, about the matchup, Europa League, and all the history, unfortunately, we don't start with that. We start with something like a bombshell, which has happened in like just last week or this week. The biggest bomb right now, which is going on Twitter after Elon Musk, of course, and of course Trump because he's reinstated. But Ronaldo has had a lot to say against his current club, Manchester United. A very sad moment, but also a shocking moment. But of course, he's not 100% wrong. But the thing is, we need to discuss if the chance and the stage and the time was right for him to say all these things. So, of course, with all due respect to Ronaldo and his legacy at Manchester United, we will just go and through some of the highlights of the video. So I'll get started with the press release by Manchester United. According to the statement, they say this morning they initiated appropriate steps in response to Cristiano Ronaldo's recent media interview. Ronaldo attempted to thrash a great manager, a great club. Praveer, this is my first question to you. Do you think he actually just ended up thrashing his own legacy?
So, like you described this as a bombshell, so I think it's much bigger than that. Especially for me, a guy who started supporting United just because of Ronaldo. If you go into the past of our club, the 7-8 times when we were vying for the Champions League every other year, winning multiple Premier League trophies, it was a love at first sight moment for me, right? Like Ronaldo used to flash through the wing, score tons of goals. It was the start of his career playing as the best player in the world at that particular point of time. Then he moved to Madrid, achieved a great ton of things, which I think are to be matched by only a particular few in the whole footballing world. But after coming back, it was a very good moment, I would say. He was supposed to be joining Manchester City, but he ended up joining us at the very last moment. And amidst mixed tenure, I would say, in the last 2 seasons that he has been with us. The first season was mixed performance from the team. We had a very bad run of games. Solskjaer got sacked for that. But through all of this, Ronaldo was actually putting up some really good numbers for the age that he's in. Really a great player. But this season, the whole club was going through a restructuring process, and I think Ronaldo was given a more subdued role. I would say, like he was not a like regular starter in the team. He was told that he won't be starting every game. He's more of a bit part player now, and exactly like waking up to the news of Ronaldo giving a interview with Piers Morgan. I think it's much bigger than a bombshell. I think it was something akin to what US had done to Japan at some point of time. So it was like really a big thing for us. And talking about Ronaldo's legacy, I think throughout his interview, what all he has said, I think majority of it can be said to be the right things, but this is not something you just drop on the club, right? You're not allowed to just go if you're not playing a couple of games. You are not allowed to go to some random interview show and just put out what all is going behind the scenes at the club, right? It's not the right thing. And apart from that, there are some really clear red flag situations that he has raised. He has spoken against the manager, spoken against some of the current players that play for United. So I think it goes above and beyond what he's supposed to do at the club. He could have just kept quiet, maybe talk to the manager one on one about all these situations. But coming out in the media and dropping this whole interview, I think it's a step beyond like what can be tolerated at a club like Manchester United. Talking about legacy, I don't think people would remember Ronaldo for what he brought to the club when he returned, but for what stage he set when he was playing under Sir Alex Ferguson. So I don't think it changes what he has achieved with us, what he has given to us over the 2 tenures he has been here. But it certainly does leave a very bitter taste in our mouths regarding who Ronaldo was for United, right? He had a very beautiful tenure. He had come back. He could not achieve what he had come back to achieve, but leaving in such a way, and I think this is the end of the road for Ronaldo, right? Like I don't think it's anyway coming back to into the squad anytime soon for him. So I think the way he's leaving, that's certainly a bit disappointing for us United fans, and I think also for anyone who just follows the limelight of Ronaldo. I think this is something that does tarnish his image a bit. So I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually kind of agree with you because what he has done in his previous tenure at United is something untarnishable, surely. Like he has like, I mean, it goes beyond setting records, as you mentioned, because
Correct.
of course the statistic and the numbers will tell a story, but the story indeed is something much beyond those numbers. And I think Ronaldo was or is certainly a guy who can do wonders and magic and go beyond that. But yeah, I mean, it's the end could have been a better,
It's
clearly anticlimactic what we are seeing.
Well, but we would
certainly
also
disappointing.
remember
Yeah.
the Cristiano Ronaldo we saw at Manchester United. So even if this is what is the present, but he would be still remembered as one of the Manchester United players under Alex Ferguson,
Mm.
and through which he came to limelight. He became Ronaldo in Manchester United when
Yeah, he
he was
became that
at.
the Ronaldo. That's true. Mm.
Yeah. So my next question to you, Praveer, would be something about the interview as well. Cristiano Ronaldo said, "It is something that I regret to leave from the stadium versus Tottenham, but in the same way, I felt provoked by Eric Ten Hag, not allowed for me, a coach to put me in 3 minutes in game. Sorry, I'm not that kind of player." Like this statement and this deed by Eric Ten Hag, how he could have handled this situation in a better way.
Okay. So from a United perspective, I would say like if you are following United this particular season, it's a wholehearted rebuild that we are doing, right? We have gotten new players in all the weak positions that were literally exposed under Solskjaer. So we have signed a really good right winger now in Anthony. We have a really good CDM in Casemiro now. Rafael Varane is fit again. We have Lisandro Martinez who's playing superbly. So the whole process of restructuring is going on, and I think there are some decisions which the manager literally has to take, which are not very much supported by the whole fan base. I would say sitting down Ronaldo, like benching Ronaldo, would be certainly one of the biggest decisions I think he would have to take, because it's just more than if he's playing or not. a lot of fans come to Old Trafford, a lot of fans tune into their TVs just to watch Ronaldo. And making the decision that he won't be a regular starter, I think it's a very big point. I think Ten Hag would have thought through the decision to not play him. And if you have to look at our game, certainly Ronaldo is not very much suitable to the quick attack play that United currently are trying to deploy in the mindsets, right? So it's clear that it's a bit part role that Eric Ten Hag has given to Ronaldo. Multiple things had happened over the transfer window as well. Would Ronaldo be a part of the squad for this year or not? That was also in question. But I
Mm.
think when he has stayed, Ten Hag has decided that okay, you're not going to be a proper starter for us, but you're going to be an important player. So I think these are the challenges that a manager really has to take, and certainly at a club like United, who have not been up to the mark, up to the standards that they are known to be at. I think to get them back there, Ten Hag took the right decision, I would say, which has to be supported by everyone at the club, and it has rightly been so. But in this particular situation, I think the Tottenham game was a mixed emotions game. Okay, so for the first half, we really dominated. We were 3-0 up, I think, in the first 60 minutes. Ten Hag could have brought Ronaldo into the limelight, but I think the team was playing fabulously well without Ronaldo at that point of time. And I think he just decided that, okay, I just want this rhythm to continue till the very end. And why it was disappointing for us was because you could clearly see at the end of the game that Ronaldo is leaving early. He has like he's sitting apart, like he's not sitting at the bench. He's like jogging around some places, and he just left on the 85th minute, if I'm not wrong. And certainly disappointing to see. And we knew that this was going to be in the media next day, and it has come up now in a very very big way. So I don't think Ten Hag did anything bad. I think every manager has a decision to take during the games. Although we were 3-0 up, Tottenham were a team which are really to be not to be taken weakly at any point of time. Conte is a great manager. They can kill you on the breaks, right? So I think playing with Rashford up front, I think it was a good idea what Ten Hag had done. Uh, One thing which could have been avoided was not to ask Ronaldo at all. So he asked Ronaldo if he wants to come on, and he denied, right? So I think he could have just benched him for the whole game, right, straight away, and we could have avoided such a blunder, I think. But yeah, it's. I think I stand with the manager's decision at this point of time.
So, a small follow up about this. How much trust do you put in Ten Hag and his coaching staff?
Complete trust. Like I think United after Sir Alex Ferguson have had seen a variety of managers with different playing styles, different approaches to the game. The first big name that had come to us was Jose Mourinho, and if you have to look back at Mourinho's tenure, I think people generally have a mixed feeling about it. That okay, at every team Mourinho goes, the first seasons are great. He wins a couple of trophies, but then the downfall starts. But if I have to really look at from a United perspective, uh, as Ronaldo rightly pointed out, we are a marketing club. We really did not back any manager after Alex Ferguson, right? So we always wanted to get the best of names, but if those names were suited to our playing style, if those names were suited to the manager's playing style, that was never taken into consideration. I think that was one of the major pitfalls that Mourinho had to face during his tenure here. Post Mourinho, we went with Solskjaer. It was a mixed season, I would say, mixed tenure, I would say. Again, we finished second, we finished fourth, but ultimately in the last year, despite good investments into the club, we could not put up any sort of title challenge. We were not to put up a title challenge. We were very much away from the top four as well. So I think after all this, getting a good manager in Eric Ten Hag, which he has proven with Ajax, he has taken them to the Champions League semis, multiple time Eredivisie winner. So I think it's the right kind of coach that we have got. And if you have to just look at the basics of what a football club needs, a manager who has come in needs to be supported in the transfer market and needs to be supported in the decisions that he makes. And I think it is finally happening with United, the whole restructuring around the club, not just with the coaching staff, not just the players, but some top executives have also left the club. And I think they're finally backing the manager for what he wants. If you have to look particularly within this window, we have spent a great amount of money getting the players that Ten Hag really wanted, and we have not gone for quick fixes. We've got Casemiro. We have overweight for Casemiro, but that's what he brings to the team, right? Ultimately, he's one of the best CDMs out there. So I think Ten Hag needs to be supported, and I think this is the same blueprint what Liverpool had also followed. When Klopp had come in, the team was really, really down. but they invested in the right amount of players which Klopp wanted, not what would be the best thing for the club as a marketing organization, but what the team actually needed. So I think Ten Hag in that way has really got us working well. This season started on a very low note, but we have played some really good football against some good sides. There have been some hindrances here and there with regarding to lapses of defense, the midfield unit not playing well. But overall, if you have to see, there's a certain belief that okay, we are at least headed in the right direction. So that's something that the Ten Hag has given us beautifully. Yeah.
Yeah, do you think Ten Hag's playing style and Manchester United playing style, they contradict each other or they go hand in hand with each other?
No, so if I have to look at his days with Ajax, I think it's a
Yeah.
proper style that we want. It's a total football, all attacking style, in which
Exactly.
even the defenders become a part of the attack, and that's how we
Yeah.
used to play under Sir Alex Ferguson. But I think with the team currently we can't do that, right? So manager has to do a little bit of tweaks. We can't play attacking football all at once. So if you have to see United currently, we are more of a team which plays on the break. We
Hmm.
get the ball through interceptions and we just do a quick break. So it's not a total football style that we have currently implemented, but I think we are getting there.
Yeah, of
Couple of
course,
more
it takes
signings here and
time.
there.
It takes
Correct. Yeah,
time.
we're in
Yeah,
the
for sure
transition.
it takes time. For sure it takes time. And after so many years of this gap, it definitely is going to take some time to rebuild the team again.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, but just to defend Eric Ten Hag a bit more, I think Ronaldo wasn't a problem that he bought himself for, because when he came, I think I think United or the officials or the owner, I don't know who has to be blamed for this, but there was a clear indication from Ronaldo that he wants to leave, and
Exactly. Yeah.
United, I think, kept the decision of having this situation in their hand so that they can sell Ronaldo for some money. So I think it could have easily been avoided if United and Ronaldo would have just sat down together. Um, and it actually, this talks a lot about George Mendes as well, because he also is a bit responsible for what is happening right now with Ronaldo. I mean, I think agent as big as Ronaldo's agent, with whom he has, he could afford literally every single thing in the world. I mean, its only job is to satisfy his client, and I think
Exactly. Yeah.
Mendes needs to take some responsibility as well in this aspect.
Exactly. Yeah. Totally agree on that.
Yeah. So when you talked about manager, the new things that he has brought to the club, and of course it will take some time. Every manager has his bits and pieces on nutrition. Some rules here and there of using technology, mobiles, and whatever. So I'll just follow on this aspect, and what Ronaldo said is he mentioned like Manchester United made zero progress. Maybe there is a context more, but I'm just picking up the quote. Real Madrid and Juventus followed recent technologies infrastructures. They always tried to progress even in terms of training, nutrition, and how to recover from games. And Manchester United is behind clubs like those. And of course, a player big as Ronaldo, I don't think he's wrong here. He must be speaking from his experience, from some facts. So, at what level you think this United can improve this aspect on? Is this sporting level or manager or the ownership has to take some responsibility in going forward?
Yeah. So no, I think it's truly right for someone like Ronaldo who has maintained the standard for the last 15 years or so. He has been at the peak of his playing style, his playing form. Everything has been perfect. So I think for him to say that United have not progressed from an infrastructure perspective, that is partially right. And I think that's also a partial reason for why United fans have been protesting against our owners Glazers, right? So if you have to look post Sir Alex Ferguson era, we have actually declined in a lot of aspects, right? It's just not what EPL standings we are getting, but in terms of the amount of youth players that we are producing at the very top level, how many big stars are we going to attract? Not just based on our current positions in the league, but just based on if it's a good place to develop for you or not, right? So if you have to go back in time to probably let's say 2006, 7 when I started watching football, every other match there used to be a United youngster who was really really good, right? Fabio Silva, Rafael Silva, Danny Welbeck, Federico Makeda. I think there were a lot of examples, very, very good players. I think at that time, PK was also a United Academy player, right? He
Mm.
left the riches of La Masia to come to a place like United. He ultimately went back because he was homesick. But for someone to come from La Masia to a United Academy, it speaks volumes about how good this infrastructure would have been. And not just the infrastructure of the training facilities, the medical stuff, everything, but the overall development that a player needs at that particular point of time. When he's a young player, he needs that guidance of how to improve his game, how to improve certain aspects. So I think in that aspect, Ronaldo is quite right. I would say that we don't have seen any investments in any of the training facilities or the grounds. Even there's a lot of complaints about Old Trafford not being up to the standards now. There's a lot of leakages in the stadium, a lot of noise. Uh, Noise levels are very abrupt in certain aspects of the stadium. So I think Ronaldo on that point is right. That maybe the facilities are not up to the mark, and it is for United to address that also. So United do have a leeway to say that okay, Ronaldo is wrong in saying that, but whatever he has exposed, they need to clarify on that as well, right?
Yeah.
So we don't see the best training facilities at United anymore, right? So if you have to look at City's promotional videos, they talk about how much they have invested in Etihad, how much have they invested in the in the training centers and everything, and it speaks also, right? If you have to look at the current generation of young players, I don't think apart from two or three very good players who have come from United, I think the majority of the youngsters are coming from City, Liverpool, Arsenal, and I'm talking with respect to just EPL for the moment.
Mhm.
But yeah, we certainly have lacked investments in that those particular areas, and it's up to the club as a whole organization to look into this. As far as the nutrition goes, I think this is something of a personal thing that a player has to set, right? A player has to set standards for himself, and I think Ronaldo standards would be way, way much higher than what I would expect Harry Maguire to eat or what I would expect some other defender to eat, right? But I think that will change. I think we have heard some news of Tanak putting in really stringent measures with regards to training and player fitness. I think you're required to be very much disciplined with how you uh, charge up for games, how you recover from the games, how you have to put in training hours on a daily basis. I think it's coming into a structure, but I think yeah, it also comes down to a player's personal choice of on the day of does he train for some time or does he just relax and go out and party. So I think that is a personal thing, but with regards to the infrastructure, I think United do lag a bit in terms of infra with the rest versus our rivals.
Yeah, I think this happens, when there is a complete comeback, like because there is always like sunset before the sunrise, and I think huge clubs like United probably they did not feel the need of having this because they were already getting like great players. They had a great, of course, they still have a great brand, but still now people are thinking if they have to join. It's the same thing is happening with Barcelona. Some very obvious stuff as so many players leave Barcelona, go to like English clubs or German clubs, and then they realize how much hard or how harder it is to train actually physically when it
Correct.
comes to
Yeah.
European level. And this is one of the most obvious points you will see is like at the elite level as you come at Barcelona, you have to train hard, but even that's not happening. So yes, I mean these clubs have had a great success, but for them to get back into the business, I think they need to have a
No, I
complete
think,
redemption.
and just to add on this, I think training hard is a certain aspect that a team really needs. So if you have to look at the last 10 years, the best coach teams, I think Atletico Madrid is one clear cut example of like players who are not that big in fame, but they play as a unit and they can die for their team. So I think if you have to look at the records also, with how great Barca and Real Madrid have been in the last decade, Atletico Madrid has won one league title, I think, and they have been a part of two
Oh yeah,
Champions League finals, and that
yeah.
speaks a lot about how what a manager can do with his training. Like if you look at the teams that Diego Simeone has made over the past decade, I think they are willing to die on the pitch for that manager. So
Mm.
that speaks a lot about how much rigor is needed at the very top.
Yeah, I think I feel the same about Antonio Conte, and I would rate him
Correct. Yeah.
even better because he goes to different projects and still makes everything as he wants. Uh, about Diego Simeone, I think I disagree a bit because I feel like to start, it's okay. But now with all the success and all the money, he should move to that one step, like, one notch higher up the pitch. So I think I disagree. But yeah, the way he started, of course, it's brilliant to break the dominance of Real Madrid in Barcelona. And the next point, which I agree a bit about, what Ronaldo said, but I would like to have your perspective. He had a chat on the Dagnic, and he mentioned, and I quote, when you sack Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you should bring a top manager, not a sports director. I love Solskjaer. I never saw Ragnick as the boss because I saw some points I never agreed. So how do you, as a Manchester United fan, and Praveer, I remember we had a discussion when he was hired. So you probably, like, at that time you had different thoughts, and now it might have changed. But I would really like you to have some things mentioned on how you rate Ragnick's hiring.
So I think the whole tenure of Ragnick is to be seen as something that United as an organization failed to manage properly, right? So Ole Solskjaer had to be sacked, I would say, because they had invested around 140, 150 million, bringing in Varane, Sancho, Ronaldo. It was a new team. We had finished second on the trot, right? So we needed a certain title challenge that year for Solskjaer to prove his worth. And the way we had started, we had lost. I think the final game Solskjaer played was a 4-1 defeat to Watford, right? So it was middle of the season, and it was a right decision to move on from Solskjaer. But then United as an organization, that's the fans' voice, right? How United organization failed in totality is certainly exemplified into how they managed Solskjaer's resignation, right? So when Solskjaer was fired from the job, there were two prospective managers, three I would say. With Ten Hag, there was three prospective managers that we had to take. One was Antonio Conte, one was Mauricio Pochettino, and one was Eric Ten Hag. So I think Ten Hag had made it very clear at the starting of the season only that he will never leave a club in between the season unless he is fired. So I think that put just Conte and Pochettino into the perspective. Pochettino was also having a rough time managing PSG at that point of time. They had also gotten the players of the likes of Sergio Ramos, Messi, and all into the play, and he was not very much efficiently managing those players. And Pochettino was a very, I would say, a board favorite of United directors. Everyone wanted Pochettino when he left Spurs, but they could not get him at that point of time because Souza was very much good into his job at that point of time. So it leaves us with Conte, right? And it was a bit part decision that Conte does not suit the style of Manchester United. But in my personal opinion, even though he does not suit our playing style, it's something that United could have got a boost from, right? Conte is known to rejuvenate teams. He got into Chelsea and made them champions. So even if it's not the right playing style, he can get you results, and that's what you need at first with the club. But I don't think the club was completely wrong to reject Antonio Conte. And as we did not move so fast, I think he went to Tottenham within the next 2 weeks, if I'm not wrong. When we rejected him in the next 2 weeks, he became the manager of Tottenham Hotspur. So I think not a very bad decision, I would say, not to hire Conte. But then the real circus started around United, right? So we knew that we got to have a manager for the 6 months. So Ralph Rangnick was first hired as a consultant coach who had to become the director of football after his tenure of 6 months ended, and he had to recommend a new coach to the board of directors, right? And that is where we see the failings. So if it was a clear cut thing that okay, 6 months just take us to the finish of the season, whatever position it is, it does not matter. We'll build a whole new club. I think United were not completely wrong in hiring Ranić. He has done some really good job as a coach with Schalke, I guess, and then he was also with Leipzig, if I'm not wrong. And he has been a director for Leipzig and the Red Bull sporting teams as a whole, right? And
Yeah.
they have done fantastically well in the last 10-15 years. Both the big Red Bull clubs have now come to the forefront of Champions League football. They are regulars in the top competitions. They play really well. They have groomed some really good talent. So I don't think that there's any mistake in United to think that okay, this is the right guy for the director of football position, which United did not believe in. Everything was done by the executive chairmen and the managing directors of the club. So I think Ranić was a good appointment, but those 6 months were not managed very well by the club. The club had some issues of who Ranić was appointing as the next manager. Ranić had very different thoughts. I don't exactly remember which were his suggestions, but I don't think Erik ten Hag was top of them. And the board decided ultimately to go with Erik ten Hag, and I think it did not work out that Ranić had to be fired at the end of the day, right? He did not become the director of football for us. So that is something which United did not handle very well, I would say. Ranić in the director of football position could have done wonders for us. I think he had a couple of good players he had told us to sign, but we did not sign those players. We ultimately did sign some really good stars, but I think it shows us as an organization how we failed in the last season. And but to be on United side, I think we have made some really good appointments after that. Each of the appointment with regards to coaching staff, with regards to analytics staffs at the club has been appointed by taking into consideration what Ten Hag thinks now. So that has been done really good. We still don't have a very good director of football. We have put up some internal folks into that position. Mixed thoughts on that, as we have not had the really good window, I would say. We have got some really good targets, filled up some really good positions with the likes of Martinez, Anthony, and Casemiro coming in. But still a long way to go for us. And I think we are setting up the right structure, but that only time will tell, I think, if
Yeah.
this has been the right decision or not. Yes.
I think, as far as I'm remembering, Ragnick was not fired. I think it was a mutual decision because he had been offered like Austria
That's
national
so
teams
that's
coaching thing. Yeah, I feel.
yeah. So that's how it's portrayed in the media. So actually, what happened is first, what was decided was that Ranić will appoint a new manager,
Hmm.
and he will move into a complete director of football role. And when this Austria thing came up, he was moved into a temporary director of football role because obviously your national teams do not need a regular coach, right?
Hmm.
So he could have been into the director of football role for us as a part time guy, but I think ultimately he was forced. So he basically put some constraints on the manager's job that he ultimately resigns on his own. I think that is what happened for us.
Okay, okay. The United were probably Ragnick was thinking to play FIFA, the career mode, both in international team and the club.
That is true. Could have been better than the current structure, I guess. But yeah, ultimately it was a club's decision, which we ultimately need to support. So I can't say anything about it.
Hmm.
But yeah, could have been better, I think.
So actually, I would like to mention this quote, and when I'm asking you this question, that there is an internal question is coming for me about Messi. So I'll say about this thing first, and then I'll discuss. But Cristiano Ronaldo said that, as you already mentioned, I was very close to joining Manchester City in 2021. I was surprised as they tried hard to sign me, but my heart, my history with Manchester United, Sir Alex Ferguson made a difference. The heart was speaking loud in that moment. What do you think about? What do you think? I mean, should he had come back? And when I'm asking you this question, constantly I'm thinking about should Messi come back next season in case he decides to come back, because there is a long way to go for Messi's coming back to Barcelona. But what do you think? I mean, I know this question is a bit off. It doesn't fit here, but still, I need you to go through it once again.
So if you follow Fabrizio for all the football drama that happens over the summer, Ronaldo was nowhere near exiting Juventus, right? There was no rumors of Ronaldo leaving Juventus. So obviously, it did not come to us that we needed a new striker. That was clear. We needed a new striker. Cavani was there, but Cavani was very much prone to injuries, and there was also talk of Cavani leaving the club. So I think there was a certain need for a new striker, but Ronaldo definitely was not in the sights because of our transfer policies of not signing players who are over 30 years old and signing young players who could fit well into the team. I think Ronaldo was nowhere in the picture of signing for United or for City as well, right? But let me just put this in this way that if you get to know Messi is going to join Madrid next year, would you want Messi to go to Madrid or come to Barca, even if you don't need him? So it was in that aspect, right? City, best team in EPL for the last 5 6 years, complete domination in every aspect. I think just one wonderful season by Liverpool. They did not win the title, but apart from that, they are the perfect team, right? They if you have to look at every position, they have the perfect players who can fit into that particular system of Guardiola and play beautiful football, right? So 2020, 2021 City, they lacked just one thing, which was a proper finisher. Aguero was often injured, and Gabriel Jesus was really not up to the mark as what Guardiola would need in that system. And for them to sign Ronaldo, I think it would have been a massive move for them. Ronaldo would have rested uh, in a good amount of matches where Aguero or Jesus could have played, but Ronaldo would have given them goals. So it would have been, and from Ronaldo's perspective, I think it would have been a great thing to, at the eclipse of his career, join a team which is regularly going to win the Premier League,
Yeah,
and also vie for
help
the
them
Champions League.
in those finals and semi-finals, and
Correct,
then
correct.
City will
Yeah,
basically bring him to the final, and Ronaldo will help City to win the final. That was like a perfect
correct.
marriage.
Correct. And that's what Ronaldo does, right? He does not win the games on his own every time, but he delivers at the big stage. Even if it's the team has played well, he does score goals. So I think it would have been a perfect thing for Ronaldo to go to City. But as United fans, you would never want that.
Yeah,
So obviously, and I think it was a very last minute decision. I think Fabrizio had also posted that Ronaldo is going to join City. And at the very last moment, it was like, okay, he's not going to City, he's going to United. So
mm,
that was a big turn, and I think it's solely because of Alex Ferguson. That
mm,
yeah. So as I mentioned, I think it's solely because of Sir Alex Ferguson that United went for Ronaldo, right? And completely against our transfer policy. We did not need Ronaldo at that point of time, but I think watching him go to City would have been a dagger in our hearts. I think City becoming better. City could have, I think, vied for the Champions League. If you have to look at what happened in the Champions League last year, them conceding last minute goals to Madrid, I think that would not have been the case had Ronaldo been there.
yeah,
So I think it's a mixed opinion. I would say that City players would have been having, but I think it would have been a great thing for Ronaldo to go to City and end his career there, and his play like the top level playing time with City. But we are happy that he came to United. I think, and in the last season, I think even so, if you have to look from a Ronaldo perspective, I don't think it was a hell lot of good season. But if you have to look from a United standard, I think this was the first time after 15, 16. I think Lukaku was the last player to score 20 plus goals for us. And Lukaku is in his first season. So I think after that, for someone 37 years old to come into such a failing system and score those many goals and still take us to at least Europa League, not the standard we want, or not the definitely not the standard what Ronaldo has, but to take us there, I think it was a good thing. But again, with the new thing, I don't think the current system needs Ronaldo as per, and he does not fit into this. So I think he should have come back, but it was not the right time. I would say definitely not the right time. But yeah, any time if he has to go to Manchester City, I'll definitely take him. However bad we are, I'll definitely take him over him joining City.
yeah. But
Yeah,
here,
I completely agree.
you really need to think about Perez's intelligence here. He sold Ronaldo for 100 million euros.
Yeah,
Exactly. I mean, the decision was probably the best decision in last 5 years taken by any president.
Yeah.
and so at that point of time, Ronaldo was really good. Yeah, like if you remember that 18 season, now he was the top of his game,
Yeah,
and
it was
I
literally
think
that bicycle kick he scored against Juventus to win
yeah,
Champions League and then leave for 100 million euros.
yeah, and I think at that point of time, I don't think Madrid had a ready-made replacement to get them even 20 goals in a season,
Yeah,
and to move
Benzema
from
was just
Ronaldo
a
to
big
there.
surprise.
Yeah,
And
and
of
yeah,
course,
they have
he
managed
did
it
not
beautifully.
perform back then in 2019 season. He's just doing well for last 2 seasons.
And if you have to look at it now, 2019 season was actually a very dark season for Madrid. I
Mm.
think they did not win the league. I think it was Barca who won the league, and even the Champions League got thrashed by Ajax. So it
Mm.
was a very bad season for Madrid. So Perez definitely would have got a lot of flack from the other board of directors, right? But his decision over the long term has proven
Yeah,
to be good. They have
yeah,
signed good players. They have a good structure now, and they have won the Champions League.
yeah.
So I think
It's probably the best "I told you so" quote from Perez now.
correct, yeah. And he has proven it quite a lot of times actually. So I think we need to see it through. Like we need to respect Perez now. I think for all the hard decisions that he has taken. It
Even
has
even the
ultimately
same
led
thing is
to
with Sergio
Madrid.
Ramos.
Correct, yeah.
He did not bend down to even Ramos.
These players are world winners, and to let them go for free or even for some money, it's a very hard decision, right? Because you don't know if the next set of players that you get in would be up to the mark or not. And
Yeah.
he has taken that decision 3-4 times, I think, in this whole tenure to completely rebuild the team from scratch. I think they're doing a really great job now.
And I think he's also a great businessman in that sense. Like he got
Correct, correct.
100 million from Ronaldo. Getting Ramos was one of the other
They got
reasons behind him.
they got 70 million for Casemiro. So although Casemiro is one of the top players,
Yeah,
for a player 30 years of age, I think we are slightly overpaid. But
yeah,
I think it is just a demand and supply problem, right? We don't have a
exactly.
that good a CDM in any of the leagues, and we
Yeah,
had to pay. We had to pay upfront.
and you needed the CTM.
But
Correct,
talking
correct, correct.
about Casemiro, because if we are on this point, maybe we can go a bit ahead. Was this really Eric Ten Hag's request? I don't think
Definitely,
so. I
definitely.
don't think so because the all the reports say that he did not want him. It was just the structure,
No,
the
no.
institution, the owners wanted to
He
have like a big
definitely
star.
no. I'll
Because
tell
then
you
why
what
isn't he starting? That's the question, right?
Casemiro starts now. So I'll tell you from I would say from a United perspective for what I have seen unfold over the whole season. When we signed, we had a fixed budget of some 120 million, right? We only overspent because we really needed someone to come into our midfield and really get us going, right? So if you have to look at the preseason, we are playing really well with Fred and McTominay in the pivot roles, and United had spent big on Lisandro Martinez, and Malaysia was a small signing. So we were saving up money to buy a winger, right? We were waiting for Anthony to actually give a go ahead, and we would have spent at least 60-70 million. We overpaid ultimately for him also towards the end of the window. But I think we were saving up for getting Anthony, and there was also a talk of Ronaldo leaving. So we definitely wanted some other player also to come in. So we were saving money for that. And if you remember how we started the season, we have lost to Brighton at home, first match. Second match, it just failed. It just completely failed, right? So we had two, three players we were looking to sign. One was Ruben Neves, and the other was obviously Casemiro. So Casemiro definitely was not in the picture because he had some 3-4 years left in his current contract at Madrid, and definitely would you won't think of Casemiro to ever think of leaving Madrid and come and join United at this point of time, right? Because we were down in tatters, and I think the price quoted. So one thing which I clearly followed up on was that Ruben Neves was wanted by a lot of people. I think Barca were also in the race.
Still,
Arsenal wanted
they
a
are trying
CDM.
to
Yeah, United.
as a backup of
And
Sergio Busquets. So yeah,
yeah,
that's the
and one thing which happens with the EPL, any EPL player is their value is just 1.3x or 1.4x of what you would pay for that player in some other league.
mm.
There's this EPL tax that you have to pay because we ultimately paid 80 million for Harry Maguire. We've paid a huge load of money for random players. Jack Grealish going for 100 million. So I
Cucurella
think,
went for 65 million euros. Can you imagine?
yeah, definitely. It's
So
it's it's some of the signings are completely out of the money, right? Jack Grealish for 100 million is not a worthy deal. At least
mhm.
what I think so.
Yeah,
And so as I say that Ruben Neves was, I think the price was quoted something at 70-80 million. And I think Ten Hag just went that I just need someone who just quickly fixes it. I think Casemiro fits that perfect profile of giving you what you need right at the moment. He will be a good player, let's say, for 3 or 4 seasons. Ruben Neves could have given us 3-4 more seasons. He's 26, I think, at this moment. He could have given us that, but what what the bigger thing that Casemiro brings to this team is the winning mentality.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I
that's
think
that's
this
for
is
sure.
what we needed, right? And if you have to look from so Casemiro did not start the first few games. He was still traveling, he was looking for work permits, and also at that point of time, McTominay was playing really well. So I think only after the City defeat, he has completely been into the team. And after the City defeat, United have conceded just 3 goals from open play. And it's in those 8-9 games, I think we have conceded just 3 goals, and that was in the Aston Villa game. So before the Aston Villa game, we had only conceded one penalty and one free kick. That's it. So Casemiro does bring that structure to our team, I think, really, really well. I think something that Tanak would have really loved. He had a great, I think Alvarez is the midfielder with Ajax currently. would have been a great buy, I think, but I don't think Ajax would have sold any more players to United. So I think it puts a good picture us with us. I think we have got a player who's known to win games, known to be one of the best players in his role. I think if you have to look at the CDMs in EPL, I think only a few names are there who are up to that mark, right? I'm not saying Casemiro is definitely the best, but he's up there. He's up there with the best.
Yeah, but the winning
So I
mentality, as
think
you
so.
mentioned, the winning
Yeah,
mentality that
that's
he brings to
really
the club
important.
is something very required for clubs like Manchester United, Barcelona, who are trying to get into the level. So again, just to finish, Praveer, thank you so much, man, for giving us your time because it's quite late night in India right now, and of course you need to plan and you need to get back to Monday night blues. So I'll I'll let you go and have a sleep before you start your Monday morning. Sorry, but Aniket, thanks a lot as well for talking to me. Any last thoughts, Praveer? Do you have any
So
closing
it's
thoughts?
definitely a great time, like talking to you all about football and what's going to happen, and definitely discussing the bombshell that Ronaldo has dropped on the world. I think, and I think that's it. I think very good time with you guys, and I think three different time zones also, right? India, Europe, and Canada. So I think
Yeah.
it's great. I think like what the love of football brings us to do.
Mm. Yeah. Yes. Okay. So, to all the listeners who are listening to us on Spotify, Google Podcast, please make sure that you subscribe to us and to get such more content. And to all the viewers who are watching us on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel and also share with your Manchester United fans, with your friends who are Manchester United fans. And also, if you want us to make such more content about any other club, you can just comment about it, and we'll make sure that we do that. So, good night and bye bye.
Bye bye.
Right. Bye bye.